Well, happy Thursday morning to everybody. Hope you are doing well. We are ready for the next game in the 1987 American League replay. Game number 322 overall of over, I think, 1,200 games total is what we're going to end up doing. So we're almost at 25%, but not quite there. It's May 30th is the date on the 1987 calendar. It was a Saturday. We're at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto. Symmetrical ballpark. Singles are 1 to 9 left and right. Home runs 1 to 11 left and right. Pitching matchup: Jimmy Key for Toronto against Jack Lazorko for California. Hello, Blaine, and hello, Dr. D. Jimmy Key on the actual season was 17-8 with a 2.76 ERA, but in the replay, if you've been following it at all, you know how well he's been doing. He is 10-0 in the replay with an ERA under 2. So he's going to see if he can keep that going for himself. Toronto comes in 28-17 with the Yankees winning the other day. They got a win to keep pace. They thought they would catch a break. They thought Oakland was going to beat the Yankees. But if you didn't watch yesterday's game, Yankees came back and won it. So 28-17 for Toronto. California 23-24. So with Oakland's loss, if California can get a win and get to 500, all of a sudden they're in the playoff picture. So twists and turns as we head into late May. There you see the starting lineups, nothing out of the ordinary. Both pitchers are excellent at holding runners. Jimmy Key is a -6 and Ernie Witt's a 0, so he's a -5. Lazorko is only a -1, but you got Bob Boone as a -3, so it makes him a -4. And so, yeah, both teams are going to have maybe a little bit of trouble trying to get the running game going, but you never can tell. That's why you roll the dice. And I do have Toronto Blue Jay dice out here. Hoping this white D20 is a little bit less devilish than the black one was. Try to mix things up a bit. And, of course, goes without saying, you got to have that. Hello, Mr. Guterman. Good to see you, sir. Baby wipes are ready. And that is good coffee. Okay. So as I said, Jimmy Key, 10-0 on the replays, 10-0 with a 1.53 earned run average, 88 innings pitched, just 62 hits allowed, 22 walks and 64 strikeouts. So obviously, if the season ended today, he would be the Cy Young Award winner in this replay. All right, so Dick Schofield is going to lead things off for California. Schofield on the replay is hitting .254, 3 homers, 19 driven in. Real world, he hit .251, so he's doing pretty much what you would expect from a Dick Schofield. A little bit unusual they have him in the leadoff spot in this game, but that's just the way they made the lineups. So these, of course, are as-played lineups. So Gene Mauch did it this way, and that's the way we'll play it. And we're underway. 2-8 for Schofield. He's going to ground it to short. Tony Fernandez will make the play. And there's one away. That'll bring up Wally World. Wally Joyner. Joyner on the replay is hitting .320. 12 homers, 29 driven in. He hit .285 real world. Lefty on lefty matchup, 2-8. That's going to be a single for Wally Joyner. Joyner stroking one of the opposite field off the lefty Jimmy Key. And Joyner will not go anywhere or not be held. And here comes the designated hitter, Brian Downing. Downing hitting .356 on the replay, still tearing it up. 13 homers, 38 driven in. He hit .272 real world. First havoc chance, nothing happening. Key's wild pitch is a 6. His balk is an 8. It's a 1-7 for Downing. That's a 1-15 double. That's a 9. It's a double 2 stars. And that's going to put runners at second and third with only one out. So Key in a little bit of early trouble. And Doug DeSensei, who had been out for a few games, he's finally back. And he's going to try to get some runs home for California. He's been struggling on the replay, hitting .195, 5 homers, 20 driven in. He hit .234 real world. The Blue Jays infield is in. They do not want to give up a cheap run. They are in. And this is at the direction of Jimmy Key. Tell him to come in. Come on in, guys. All right, 6-8, and that's a strikeout. Jimmy Key says, well, you didn't really have to be in. I'll just strike out DeSensei, and that'll help take care of it. That's out number 2. And now infield back to normal for Devon White, the right fielder. White on the replay hitting .275, 8 homers, 28 driven in. He hit .263 real world. clutch against lefties for Devon White is not so good. 2-8 and 2-11 are going to be changed to outs on the anti-clutch factor. Get a 4-12 instead. Switch hitter batting right-handed. That's a ground ball back to Jimmy Key, and that's going to end the inning. So Jimmy Key is able to strand runners at second and third with less than 2 outs. But that's why he's 10-0, folks. That's exactly why. It's Exhibit A right there. So we go to the bottom of the first, and Mr. Jack Lazorko on the mound for California. He was 5-6 with a 4.59 earned run average real world. On the replay, he's had 1 relief appearance and 1 start. He is 0-1 with no saves, a 4.82 earned run average. 9 innings pitched, 10 hits, 11 walks, and 8 strikeouts. So the 11 walks in 9 innings, that's been his bugaboo, the base on balls. So we'll see what happens here against the Blue Jays. Leading things off for the Blue Jays will be shortstop Tony Fernandez. He's hitting .359 on the replay, a homer, 14 driven inning at .322 real world. That's a 3-6 for Fernandez, and here we go. What do we know? Another walk. So Lazorko again getting done in by the walks. And Fernandez, despite this -4, he's still going to look into getting a lead here. He needs a 6 or a 7 to obtain a good lead. Does not get it, so he will hold. And that brings up Lloyd Mosby, the center fielder. Mosby hitting .307 on the replay, 13 homers, 44 driven in. He hit .282 real world. 5-9, and that's a 1-3 double. 4-20 is a single. The double dies a 2. It's going to be a double 2 stars. And just like California did, Toronto now has second and third, but this time nobody out. And the heart of their order coming up, although Rick Leach is in there for Mr. Bell, who's moved over to the DH slot. So Rick Leach getting a rare start in the left field. And Leach on the replay only hitting .207. No homers, 2 driven in. He hit .282 real world. So the infield for the Blue Jays is in. They are in against Rick Leach. That's a 5-8 left-handed. That's an in-home run chance. Ballpark blast. It's an 11. That's a 7. And that is gone. It doesn't matter where you are positioned in the infield. That is going to be a home run for Rick Leach. 5-8 is a ballpark blast. It's 1-11 at Exhibition Stadium. The double dies a 7. He has normal power. That is the first home run of the season for Rick Leach. And boy, what a time to put him in the starting lineup. Jimmy Williams knew what he was doing. Puts Rick Leach in the starting lineup, and he comes through with a 3-run home run. And just like that, Toronto jumps out in front 3-0. Rick Leach. Now, speaking of home runs, here comes the big guys, George Bell and Jesse Barfield. Bell is hitting .293, 14 homers, 39 driven in. He hit .308 real world, and Lazorko's off to a rough start. 6'10", and that's a catcher X. That's Bob Boone. Boone is a 1, E14. 1 and a 2. Boy, good thing he's a 1 there, huh? Oh, the double die keeps coming up, so even this one's evil as well. So 1 and a 2 is a W/G, so it will be a ground out. That's a 10, and he is an E14. There is no 10, so it's a W/G with nobody on base, just a ground out. 2-3. 4 out, number 1, and that brings up Jesse Barfield. Barfield leading the league in home runs with 16. He's got 16 homers, 45 driven in, and a .305 average. Hit .263 real world. 2-8, and that's a strikeout for Lazorko. Much needed if you are Lazorko. 2 down for the crime dog, Fred McGriff. He's going to get a chance to play first base as they give Upshaw the day off. So McGriff hitting .237 on the replay, 8 homers, 16 driven in. He hit .247 real world. 6'10", and that's going to be a ballpark single check, 1-9. That's a 20. So that's going to be a fly ball to left to end the inning. But the 3-run home run from Rick Leach has given the Blue Jays a 3-0 lead after 1. And they've staked Jimmy Key to a 3-0 lead. Not saying it's automatic, but it's pretty good start if you're Jimmy Key to get that 11th win. He'll be facing Boone, Howell, and Pettis due up. Hello, Kathy. Good to see you. Yes, there you go. Coffee is here. And good, we got trivia. We missed trivia the other day, so trivia it is in the top of the third. So the Blue Jays with a 3-0 lead. Starting the top of the second, Bob Boone he's really struggling, hitting 140 in just 57 at bats. No homers, 3 driven in. He had 242 in real world, but he's only had 57 at bats. He had 389 at bats real world, so he does have time to turn it around. 2-5, but he won't do it here against Key. That's a fly to left. 1 away. And that'll send up Jack Howell. Lefty on lefty matchup. Kind of strange they have him in the lineup in left field, being he's left-handed. Only faced lefties 16% of the time, and as you can see on this card, there are no hits here against left-handers for Jack Howell. He's going to have to get something off of Key's card. He can walk, but that's it. But no base hits. All right, so Howell hitting 259 on the replay, 4 homers, 16 driven in. You get 245 real world. 3-5, and that's going to be a walk. So he can walk, and that's one thing he did do. First walk issued by Key. Howell, of course, will not be going anywhere. And here's Gary Pettis, center fielder, switch hitter, hitting 259, no homers, 16 driven in. He hit 208 real world. 2, chance of a balk or pass ball. Looking at a balk chance, and Jimmy Key's balk chance is an 8. No balk. So Jimmy Key does not issue the balk. Pettis will step back in. 4-6. Switch hitter batting right-handed. That's a fly to center. Hauled in out there by Mr. Mosby. And there's 2 away. Retreating to first base is Howell. And that brings up the number 9 man, Mark McLemore, second baseman, switch hitter. McLemore hitting 261 on the replay. 3 homers, 19 driven in. He at 236 in the real season. That's a 3-8 against the lefty, and he's going to fly it to Mosby again. So another fly out to Mosby. So the 1-out walk comes to nothing for the Angels, and Jimmy Key, another shutout inning. That ERA just keeps getting lower and lower. We go to the bottom of the second. It'll be Ernie Witt, the catcher, to lead things off. Witt hitting 285 on the replay, 6 homers, 20 driven in. He at 269 real world. 310 for Witt. That's a ballpark blast. 1-11, and that's a 5. That's gone. Ernie Witt. We don't need the baby wipes yet because we're not quite that clean, but it's a home run. There it is, 310. Ballpark blast, 1-11, and the devil dies a 5. So Ernie Witt with a home run, and for Witt, that is home run number 7 on the replay, RBI number 21. He hit 19 home runs in the real season. So it's 4-0 Jays, and Lazorko may not be last too much longer for this game if he keeps this up. Kelly Gruber will lead off, or not won't lead off, but he comes up to the plate. He's hitting 285, 6 homers, 20 driven in. I'm sorry, I'm looking at Ernie Witt. I didn't give him the home run yet. All right, Gruber's hitting 330, 6 homers, 18 driven in. He only hit 235 real world, so he's definitely exceeded expectations to this point. 6-3 is a ballpark single check, 1-9. That's a 15, so he will line it to short. And Gruber lines to Schofield for out number 1. And that'll bring up Garth Clockwork Orge, second baseman, number 9 hitter. Orge hitting 140 on the replay. No homers, 10 driven in. He hit 210 real world. That's a 2-2, and that's a low max to third base plus injury. So it's a chance that Garth Orge might be injured for this game only. He's going to line it to DeSensei at third for the out, but now we'll see if he can stay in the game or whether he has to leave. So we go to the injury chart, which is in the back of the pitcher-catcher fielding chance and where the sacrifice bunt chart is and whatnot. So we go to our injury chart, 1 through 4, he can stay in the game. Anything else, he's got to come out. He's going to come out, so Garth Orge will be replaced. Toronto will bring in Manny Lee to play second base. Manny Lee will come in and play second base, and we'll go ahead and update his numbers here, and that way the score sheet won't look so weird. Go ahead and just totally replace him like he was never there. So like what Serve Pro advertises, like it never happened. So it's like Orge never happened. So Manny Lee is going to be the second baseman, and he's a 3.32, and he runs at a 15. So there we go. So Manny Lee, second base in the third inning. And of course, he will come in and run for Garth Orge as well. He runs at a 15, which is better than Orge's 11. Doesn't have a good chance to steal, but he will be on base as a swift base runner. So let's see here. Line out to third was taken care of. Actually, he's not going to be on base because he lined out. What am I talking about? So here's Tony Fernandez. We'll get things straight here. 2-8 for Fernandez. He'll ground to Wally Joyner at first, and that will end the inning. But the home run from Ernie Witt makes it a 4-0 game. And now we bring in Manny Lee on the computer to play second base. Before we can start the third, you got to have the right guys defensively. And while I'm making this change, pay attention to the chat. And Kathy has a trivia question for us while I do this little bit of logistics to get the right players in the right positions. Put your thinking caps on and see if you can figure out the trivia. All right, the Milwaukee Braves first base. This Milwaukee Braves first baseman set record with most total bases in a single game. 18. Wow, that's a lot of total bases for a first baseman. The only guy I can think of off the top of my head that played for them back then, I don't know. I'm not a historian for the Milwaukee Braves, so I have no idea. But I know Joe Adcock played first base a little bit, but I don't know if he did all that. So I don't know. Are you ready to rock? Good to see you. He says he's guessing Adcock as well. That's the only name that came to my mind. It's probably somebody more obscure than that, but that's the only guy I can think of that played first base for Milwaukee. But there might have been, Frank Torrey or somebody for all I know. Or somebody I've never heard of before. That's always a possibility too. But you did specify Milwaukee Braves, not Atlanta Braves and not Boston Braves. So we'll see if we still need to keep guessing. We might have to. Jimmy Key is taking his. Oh, we got it. All right. Thank you, Kathy, for that. Like I said, Adcock was the only name I could even think of for Milwaukee Braves that played first base, but that doesn't mean anything. Just the name that came to my mind. So thank you for that, Kathy. All right. So we got Dick Schofield, top of the order, leading off for the Angels. Get a 2-6, and he's going to ground it to third. And that'll be handled easily by the third baseman, Kelly Gruber. Oh, Tim, I didn't realize Sean Green had that many bases. Cool. I'm assuming that's when he was with the Dodgers. Or maybe the Mets. Probably the Dodgers, I'm guessing. I think he had his heyday with the Dodgers. All right, so Dick Schofield is out. And here's Wally World. He singled his first chance. 2-5, and this time he's going to hit a solid double. Wally World is figured out Jimmy Key, at least for now. Dodgers. Okay, he had 4 home runs. Wow. That's an elite club to have. I know Bob Horner had 4 home runs in one game. I'm sure there's others that did it, but Bob Horner is the first one that came to my mind that did that. But yeah, Sean Green, cool. All right, here's Brian Downing. Downing doubled his first time up against Jimmy Key. 4-6, and that's a fly to center. Mosby will haul it in, 2 down. And now Jimmy Key looking to pitch around that double. It's a clutch situation for Doug DeSensei, who he struck out his first time up. And in the clutch for DeSensei, he will lose the hits on 3-12. Everywhere else, he is completely neutral. So Jimmy Key looking to skirt around that double. 6-7. 1 to 4 is a single. That's a 20, so he's going to get it through it, line out to short. And Jimmy Key does it again. He pitches around the mess, that 1-out double by Joyner. So he's unfazed, and he gets out of it. We go to the bottom of the third. Still 4-0 Blue Jays. Mosby will lead things off, followed by Leach and Bell. It was Leach's 3-run homer in the first that got him going. That's a 4-8 for Mosby against Lazorko. 1 to 12 was a single, but that's a 19, so he's going to line it right to McLemore at second base for 1 away. And that'll send up Rick Leach, who had that big 3-run homer his first time up. 5-7. Last time he had a 5-8, which was the home run chance. This time it's a 5-7. Ground ball X to McLemore. 2E22. 2 and an 18. Whoops. 2 and an 18. Well, it might have been a 4. Let me double check here. I think 2 and a 4 gets it anyway. Yeah, 2 and a 4 to make the play anyway. So it doesn't matter if it's 4 or 18. They're going to make the play. That's a 10 because nobody's on base. 10, E22, and a 10. No problem for McLemore. He will retire Leach. 2 down. 2 up and 2 down for George Bell, designated hitter. 2-7, and he will hit either a single or a double. That's going to be a 3, so it'll be a single. 2-out single for Bell. And Bell will not be held. Here's Jesse Barfield. Yes, he did, Rock. He did play for Michigan, left-handed quarterback for Michigan. I remember him well. I think he made the right choice going to baseball, though, because I don't think he would have been an NFL-type quarterback. All right, here's Barfield. 2-6 for Barfield, and he's going to strike out to end the inning. He struck out both times. Both of Lazorko's strikeouts have been at Barfield's expense. So we played 3 here in Toronto, and it is 4-0. But giving Jimmy Key a 4-run lead is pretty secure if you're Toronto, I will say that. But Toronto needs to win if they want to keep track or keep pace with the Yankees, who keep winning. So Devon White will lead off against Jimmy Key. To 1-4, and that's a ballpark single check. 1 to 9, that's a 7. So Devon White gets a base hit, courtesy of Exhibition Stadium. And he's going to be looking to run. Needs a 3, 4, 5, or 6 to get the lead. That's a 4. He will get the lead, and he will go. 18 being held is a 16. -5 is an 11, so it's going to be a 55% chance for Devon White on a 1 to 11. And he's in there, stolen base. So Devon White steals the base. And yes, Tim, you can say it if you like. You won't see managing like that on that other channel, down 4-0 and stealing with a 60% chance success rate. You won't see that on the other channel. If you want to, I know you were thinking it, so I just verbalized your thought for you. How about that? All right, here is Bob Boone. That's a 2, chance for balk or pass ball. Looking at a balk for Jimmy Key. Again, his balk rating is an 8. No balk. So second time he's avoided the balk. Go to Boone. 5-5, and that's going to be a ground ball second base C. That'll get the runner to third, but now there are 2 outs. Jimmy Key once again having to try to get around runners in scoring position. This time we have a clutch situation for Howell, the left fielder, lefty on lefty matchup. He has no clutch rating at all against lefties anyway. 3-5, and that's another walk. He's walked twice against Jimmy Key. In fact, that's been Jimmy Key's both of his walks have come to Jack Howell. So we have runners at the corners with only 1 out. Pettis is not the kind of guy you normally would double up. But I think with a 4-0 lead, you almost have to play back to prevent a big inning. So they will play back. 4-7, switch hitter batting right-handed. That's a ground ball shortstop X. This is a chance for a double play right here because Fernandez is a 1. So it's a good chance he might get that G1 result. That's an 11, so I know he's got a G1 result. 1 and 11 is a G1, possible double play. That's an 11 there, and he is an E17. And there is no 11 there, so it's going to be a double play, 6-4-3. And once again, Jimmy Key pitches around the mess. Comes away unscathed. Gary Pettis, the fast guy, not fast enough on that AstroTurf. Double play was turned by the slick fielding Fernandez. And we go to the bottom of the 4th. Still 4-0. We have a second trivia question in the top of the next inning. So stand by for that. Right now we start at the bottom of the 4th with the crime dog, Fred McGriff. 5-8, and that's going to be a ballpark blast. That's the same thing that got Rick Leach a home run, was that 5-8 result. Ballpark blast is an 11. That's a 3. The crime dog goes deep, and that 5-8 has struck Lazorko again. Crime dog Fred McGriff goes deep. Third home run hit off Lazorko for McGriff. That is home run number 9, RBI number 17, and that is at bat number 95. So 95 at bats, he's got 9 home runs. And he only hit 20 in 295 at bats. So he's about 1/3 of his at bats, but he's got half his home runs virtually. So he's way ahead of the pace there. And here's Ernie Witt, who also homered his last time up. Not off the 5-8, but he still homered nonetheless. Still waiting for our first clean as a baby's ass home run, though. So the baby wipes are still in their package right now. Haven't been brought out yet. 1-5 for Witt. 1-13 single. That's a 12, so it's base hit. And Lazorko may be nearing the end of his tenure in this ball game. Bullpen activity for California has commenced. Looking in their bullpen, I believe Chuck Finley is their most rested guy, and he is. So Chuck Finley is loosening in their bullpen. Chuck Finley, I know Dwayne Bice is pitched a lot of innings in the last game, so he's not available, but Finley is, and Finley can go a few innings. So may have to just to save the bullpen. Here's Gruber. 3-4 for Gruber. That's a pop-up to McLemore at second, 1 away. And I don't know what it is about Kathy's trivia, but whenever she announces a trivia question, the half inning previous to that, a team seems to want to score 3 or 4 runs to make her trivia questions cold. I don't know if that's a coincidence or whether that's a trend. Here's Manny Lee. First time up for Manny Lee. 4-8, switch hitter batting left, and that's a 1-12 single, and Manny Lee gets a base hit. It's 1 star. So runners are at first and second with 1 out. Back to the top of the order for Tony Fernandez. And this might be the last batter Lazorko gets to face right here. That's a 3-11. Ballpark single check, 1-9. That's a 16, so he will line it to second. And that's out number 2. Now do they trust Lazorko to try to get out of the inning against Mosby? Mosby has doubled and lined to second, and that's going to be it for Mosby. For Lazorko, rather. Gene Mock says, I've seen enough. We are going to Chuck Finley, the left-hander, against the left-handed hitting Mosby. Finley is a -2 hold, which is a -5, but not sure that matters at the moment. Lazorko hey, Midlife, good to see you. So we'll go to the bullpen and bring in Chuck Finley and get the numbers on Finley on the replay. Real season, Finley was 2-7 with a 4.67 ERA and no saves. On our replay, he's 1-4 with 1 save and a 3.78 earned run average. He's coming in with runs at first and second, 2 outs. Mosby in the clutch against lefties will lose a hit on 3-9. Everywhere else he is neutral. That's a 1, so we got to figure out Finley's wild pitch rating. Wouldn't that be something to come into the game? First thing you do is throw a wild pitch. His wild pitch rating is a 9. And that is a 9. So Finley comes in right away, throws a wild pitch, puts runners at second and third now. It's still going to be a clutch situation, but now a base hit can score 2 runs thanks to that wild pitch. Kind of an inauspicious beginning for Chuck Finley, tossing that wild pitch. Or here is Mosby. 1-8, and that's 1-6 for a home run. That's a 20. It'll be a double, a 2-run double for Lloyd Mosby. Those runs are charged to Lazorko. Can finally close the book on him, and he had more than a rough outing for sure. 3 more runs in the inning. He's going to give up 7 runs. All are earned in just 3 2/3 innings of pitching. Pretty rough stuff there. He also gave up 6 hits. And let's see, struck out 2, and he walked. How many did he walk? He just walked Fernandez, the leadoff batter, and that was it. So anyway, the book is now closed on him. And here's Rick Leach. Rick Leach. Finley to Leach, 2-8 is a strikeout, and that's finally going to end the inning, but a 3 spot again for Toronto. And they take a 7-0 lead after 4. And if Kathy's trivia question hadn't gotten too cold yet, get ready for that to start the top of the 5th. And see if we can figure it out like we did last one. And here is the question. What player often associated with New York had the first hit ever for the Toronto Blue Jays in a World Series game? Or he's often associated with New York. I think I know the answer to that, but I'm going to let other people have a shot first. I don't think it's Carter. I think it's somebody I mock on the channel here, calling him Mr. May, is what I think. That's who I'm thinking it is. I'm thinking it's Mr. Winfield from 1992. Mr. May. All right, Kathy, that was a great question. I'm not sure if you were inspired by watching Winfield yesterday in the game or not, but I just figured 92. Joe Carter was in 93 when he had his big home run. I think Henderson didn't join the Blue Jays until 93, so I had to find somebody from 92. And so it was Mr. May, Mr. Winfield. I'm sure that made Steinbrenner very, very happy about that. All right, so we're going to start the top of the 5th. Jimmy Key with a commanding 7-0 lead, I would say. Taking on McLemore, 5-10. That's a ball. It's a catcher X for Ernie Witt. He's a 2-2. 2 and a 9, but as a catcher, nobody on base, that shouldn't be any issue. Should be a pop out or foul out of some sort. 2 and a 9 is going to be a foul out. That's a 7. He's an E2. There's no problem there. So he's just going to foul it out to Ernie Witt. Yeah, I associate Henderson with Oakland myself if I had to pick a team. But definitely Winfield, either Padres or the Yankees. But, he was really kind of incognito in San Diego. Nobody really knew who he was until he got to New York. Only time you see Winfield is in all-star games in San Diego. So, but New York and his wonderful relations with Mr. Steinbrenner were certainly infamous. Here's Schofield. 2-8 for Schofield. Struck him out. I'm sorry, looking over here. Ground ball to short against lefties. So he's going to ground it to short, out number 2, and Jimmy Key is just cruising along. At this very moment, his ERA has dropped to 1.46. So if he pitches a shutout, it could be around 1.3 something by the time the end of this game's going on. But one guy that's figured him out is Wally Joyner. He's 2 for 2. It's a 6-10, and that's a ground ball third base. Actually, we're looking at Gruber. Gruber is a 3.24. 3 and a 5. That could be close, but I think he'll get to it. 3 and a 5, just barely. He gets to it. That is a 12. Gruber's an E24. E24, but there's a 12 right there, so Kelly Gruber boots it. That's going to be an E5. Keeps the inning going. But it will not be charged to Jimmy Key. No matter, he could give up 6 runs right now. They'd all be unearned, so it will not affect his earned run average, not one bit. So here's Brian Downing. Downing the batter. That's a 2. Chance for balk or pass ball. Another chance to balk. His third chance to balk. It's an 8. And he still doesn't balk. He had 3 chances to balk, and he skipped past all of them. Downing 1-5, and that's a home run, 1-19. He won't skip past that. That is a 2-run bomb for Brian Downing. But again, these are unearned runs, so it will not affect his ERA at all. But it's a 2-run home run from Brian Downing. And for Downing, that is home run number 14, RBIs 39 and 40. And it does cut the lead to 7-2. But unearned runs because of the error on Gruber. So we got a Wayback Machine trivia question coming up later. Don't know how far back in the Wayback Machine that is, but think Peabody and whatever the other kid's name was. I think Peabody was the dog. I'm not sure who the kid was. 1-8 is a ground ball to short. Sherman, I think it was. I think it was Sherman and Peabody, if I'm going way back in the Wayback Machine. Sherman was the kid with the brainy kid with the glasses, and Peabody was the dog, if I remember correctly. All right, so that's going to do it for the Angels here in the 5th inning. They get 2 unearned runs off of Jimmy Key. Go to the bottom of the 5th. Chuck Finley back out. His fatigue is a 4 in relief, so he could technically finish this game out and save the rest of the bullpen from having to pitch, depending on how it goes. Here's George Bell. That's a 3-7 for Bell, and he struck him out. So Finley doing very well. Gave up that leadoff double to allow 2 inherited runs to score, but other than that, he struck out the other 2 guys that he faced. And here's Barfield. That's a 6-3. That's a fly ball right field X. We are looking at Devon White. He's a 1. We know he's going to get to it. We're just looking at E9. And for a right fielder in E9, he has to avoid a 3, 11, 16, and 18. 3, 11, 16, and 18. And he barely does it with a 10. So nice play there by Devon White. 2 down. And that'll send up the crime dog, Fred McGriff. He homered his last time up. 2-4, and this time he will strike out to end the inning. So Finley doing very well for himself and keeping himself around to pitch a little longer. So we go to the 6th. It is still a 7-2 Toronto lead. Key back out will face Devon White, Bob Boone, and Jack Howell. 7 runs, 8 hits, and 1 error for Toronto. 2 runs, 5 hits, and no errors for California to this point. White, 5-6, switch hitter batting right, is a strikeout from Jimmy Key. He's not much of a strikeout pitcher. That is his, I believe it's only his 2nd strikeout of the game. He got to Sensei in the 1st, and that's only his 2nd one since, or 1st one since, for a total of 2. So he's not really a strikeout pitcher. He struck out 161 in 261 innings, so way less than 1 an inning. But he gets the outs when he needs them. That's what matters. Here's Bob Boone stepping to the plate. He's 0 for 2. 6-9, and that is a walk. So another walk issued by Key, but he doesn't do that very often either. And for Jimmy Key, that's his 3rd walk. The other 2 went to Jack Howell. So Why he's walking Jack Howell, I don't know, but we'll see if he can get the ball in the strike zone this time. It's a 1-7, and he will strike out Howell. That's his third strikeout. And that will send it to Gary Pettis. Oh, we got a hop and dice. We're going to re-roll that again. We got a 3-6, and that's going to be another walk. Fourth walk issued by Key. Very uncharacteristic that he would be walking guys. But that's going to put runners at first and second. Clutch situation for Mark McLemore against the lefties in the clutch. Right here, 9 and 10 in the column 2. He loses those hits. So bit on the anti-clutch side. But a 3-7 will be a ground ball to short, and that's going to end the inning. So again, Key forces the Angels to leave runners in scoring position. They've done it all game pretty much, and Key has pitched around it. And should I say, that has been the key to his success in this ball game. All right. Bottom of the 6th we go. Ernie Witt. First time to face a lefty. He faced him 14% of the time in real world. He has homered and singled. Those are both against Lazorko. 4-3, and that's going to be a ground ball shortstop. X Schofield, 2E12. Should come up with this play. 2 and a 4. That will die as a 4, but the 2 should be all right. 2 and a 4 it is. And at shortstop, he is an E12 rather, and that is a 12. So 12 and a 12, there is no error there for Schofield. He will make the play. And there's one away. One down, and that brings up Kelly Gruber. Gruber. 4-4. That's the ballpark single check. It's 1-9. That's a 20, though, so he will fly to center. 2 away. So 2 up and 2 down, and that brings up Manny Lee, shortstop, or second baseman, rather. 6-7, switch hitter batting right-handed, and that's a ground ball second base extra going to McLemore. He's a 2E22. 2 and 10, he'll get to that. E22 and a 14. E22, there is no 14, so McLemore will make the play. And Finley pitching he's retired 7 in a row, and he is keeping the score from getting out of hand as he gets him to ground out to McLemore to end the inning. So we completed 6 innings here in Toronto with the score Toronto 7, California 2. And we go to the top of the 7th. I will be taking a 7th inning stretch break to heat coffee, and Kathy will have a question for us at the same time. So I will let you guys answer that question during the 7th inning stretch while I go get coffee. So I will refrain from answering. All right, here's Schofield to start the top of the 7th. This is the fatigue inning for Jimmy Key. 4-10, and that's going to be a fly to center field. Mosby right there. Or 1 away. And that'll send up Wally Joyner. Wally World. 4-10, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-9, that's a 17, and they finally retire Wally Joyner with another fly out to Mosby, 2 down. And that'll bring up Brian Downing. 4-7, and that's a ground ball to Fernandez at short. We know he's going to get to it because he's a 1. The E17, the only errors on E17 are 15, 16, and 17. And he didn't get those numbers, so he'll make the play to end the inning. Jimmy Key will keep full endurance into the 8th inning. And quite frankly, he's looking for a complete game, I would imagine. So we just about got 7th inning stretch time, and Kathy's got a trivia question for us. So while I queue up Take Me Out to the Ball Game, you all can check in on the trivia. I will read it off before I go to do Take Me Out to the Ball Game. Which team set a record by stealing only 17 bases in a season? They still had 96 wins. Wow, only 17 steals. Wow. Sounds like something the Red Sox would do in Fenway, but it might be somebody, back in the day or something. I don't know. I have no idea. I'll let you guys mull over that one. So while you're mulling over that, I will go ahead. It's in the 40s. Okay, wow, we're going way back, way back in the 40s. Wow, I thought they stole a lot of bases back then, but maybe they were going for maybe the ball got juiced a little bit more and they were going for the home runs. But I will let you guys mull over that while we go to the 7th inning stretch. I've got to heat my coffee so we can get ready for the remainder of this ball game. So we go to the bottom of the 7th with the score: Toronto 7 and California 2. Think of your trivia and see if you can get that guess while I go get coffee. All right, let's see. Did we get an answer here? Still haven't gotten an answer here. Let's see. Somebody, he guessed Ready to Rock guessed Cincinnati. I think that was told that was wrong. If you're talking about beer, it's probably St. Louis Cardinals, I would think. That's the first thing I think of when I think of beer in the major leagues is Cardinals. Anheuser-Busch. Head for the mountains of Busch. All right. Process of elimination. Thanks for all the hints, Kathy. I would have needed that because I would have never guessed the Cardinals. I always think of them as a running team. But apparently back in the 40s, they were not. What year was that? Do you know specifically which year that was? I wonder if that was 41. Oh, 49. Okay, there you go. How about that? Okay. So we're going to the bottom of the 7th. It'll be Chuck Finley against Tony Fernandez. It's a 2-9, and that's a ground ball to Schofield for the first out of the inning. Unfortunately, not a lot of drama in this game, it doesn't appear. Only drama may be whether Jimmy Key can get the complete game or not. He's definitely looked like he's a lock for his 11th win to go 11-0. Here's Mosby. 3-3 against the left-hander. He's going to ground it to Joyner. That's 2 down. 2 up, 2 down, and that brings up Rick Leach. And with the 7-2 lead, they're going to let Leach stay in the game. They're not going to pinch hit for him. 5-6, and he struck him out to end the inning. So look at this. Finley has retired 10 in a row. So he's certainly pitching well. Maybe he should have started the game. He did do some starting during the season, just not right now. So we go to the top of the 8th, and again, Key with full endurance since he did not give up anything in the 7th. And he'll be facing DeSensei, White, and Boone. It's a 1-6. 1-6 is a strikeout. So Jimmy Key with his 4th strikeout of the game. That will send us to Devon White. It's a 5-9. Switch hitter batting right. That's a fly ball to right field. And easy play for Barfield. 2 down. And here's Bob Boone, catcher. 3-6 against the lefty. That's a ground ball to third. Gruber is there, and Key keeps full endurance into the 9th. So no reason not to let him do a complete game. No reason not to at all. And we'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Still a comfortable 7-2 lead for Toronto. Finley will stay in there, and why not? He's pitched very, very well. Here's George Bell. 1-7 for Bell, and that's a home run 1-8, but that's a 19, so he'll settle with a double. George Bell with a leadoff double. Brings up Barfield. (1-9), and that is a 1-12 double. That's a 16. It'll be a single 2 stars, and they finally get a run on the board against Finley. He will be charged with his first run to make the score 8-2. McGriff steps to the plate. That's a 2. Chance for a balk or pass ball. We're looking at a balk rating of Finley. And I thought he had 0 balk, but I'll double check it. No, he's actually got a 13 balk. Ooh, okay. 1-13, he balks. And he does, so Finley will balk. And that will send Barfield second base. McGriff back. That's a 1. Chance for a wild pitch, and his wild pitch rating's a 9. That's a 6, so he's going to wild pitch as well. So he follows the balk with a wild pitch. And maybe Finley having a bit of issues here. Infield is in for Fred McGriff's at bat. It's a 2-7 for McGriff. He's going to strike out. Out number 1. Infield remains in for Ernie Witt. Another lefty on lefty matchup. 4-5, and that is a fly ball right field B. It's a sacrifice fly. It's going to be an unearned run. Actually, no, these are earned runs because wild pitches and balks count as earned runs. So it will be an earned run. And RBI on the sacrifice fly from Witt. 2 runs are in. It's now 9-2. And Gruber 0 for 3. 3-9, and not 0 for 3 anymore. He gets the base hit. And that'll bring up Manny Lee. Finley running on fumes, but they don't want to use another pitcher. Not in a blowout like this. That's a 2, so Finley, possible balk again. Yes, indeed. 1-13, he's going to balk. He does. It's his second balk of the inning. I think Finley's balking at being in this game, but just how it works. He is tired, but they're trying to get him through this. It's called taking one for the team. 111, and that's a ballpark single. And that's a 9, and that's a 9. When it's going wrong, it's going wrong, and that's what's going for Finley. That single put runners at the corners, and now Tony Fernandez comes up. Fernandez against Finley. It's a 1-4, and he just missed a home run. 1-4 is a ground ball to short. So they'll cap it at just the 2 runs, and I think putting the X here in the 9th inning is pretty safe. 9 runs come in. 9 runs, 12 hits, and an error for Toronto. So Finley is going to go. Wow, he went 4 1/3 innings. And he's going to give up the 2 runs, which were earned. He's going to give up 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Going to strike out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 strikeouts. No walks and 5 strikeouts. So we're going to the top of the ninth. Kathy has a trivia question for us in the top of the ninth. And while she gets that ready for you, Jimmy Key is going to finish up his warm-up tosses and try to complete the game. So if you would pay attention to the chat, we'll see what the trivia question is. What baseball player's name is composed of 4 body parts? Wow. 4 body parts. That's an interesting question right there. That's a thought provoker right there. 4 body parts. Anybody even have a clue on that? I'm trying to think of body parts that would fit. I'm sure once you hear the answer, it'll be obvious. But Joel, I don't think that's the correct answer, but it's a good certainly guess. And I don't think Paul Osemacher fits either. So let's see. Kathy, I'm assuming that's first and last name together combined, right? Not just the last name, but the first and the last name. I'm guessing. Joel got it? Is that actually a name? That can't be a real name. Come on now. Oh, Tony Armas. I'm sorry, Tony Armas. Okay, so that's a play on words there. Okay, I got you. I was thinking literal, not actually Tony Armas. Not Tony Atlas. He was a former bodybuilder and wrestler. Tony Armas. Oakland A, Boston Red Sox, California Angel. Not sure where else he played. Tony Armas. So, yeah, that was kind of a stretch on that one. I was actually getting down thinking of who had the eye, and I was thinking Eisenreich or eye and the ear and the nose. But Tony Armas. Okay. Tony Armas. So that was a good, Joel. I take it back. You won it. I wasn't thinking the way you were thinking on that. I was in the box. You were thinking outside the box. So that was definitely a fun one, Kathy. Enjoyed that. Could we say clean as a Tony's arm ass? Is that a thing? Maybe Tony Armas can advertise for baby wipes. Maybe that's my new expression. Clean as a Tony's arm ass. All right, so Jack Howell is set to bat, but he won't bat. They'll bring in a right-handed pinch hitter to face Jimmy Key. And they will bring in Gus Polidor to hit. Gus Polidor will pinch hit for Jack Howell just to get him in at bat. So we'll bring him on in the computer and see what he's done as far as his replay stats go. Gus Polidor, middle infielder. So Polidor first of all, in real world, Polidor hit 263 with 2 home runs. On the replay, he's hitting exactly 263 and 19 at bats. That's amazing that he got an average like that. No homers, 2 driven in. So here's Jimmy Key to Gus Polidor. 111, that's a fly ball to right field, and that's 1 away. That'll take us to Gary Pettis. Pettis is 0 for 2 with a walk. 5'8", switch hitter batting right-handed, struck him out. So Jimmy Key just getting stronger as the game goes on. One out away from another complete game and an 11-0 record. And that brings up Mark McLemore. And I will play a All-Star game in this replay once we get to the All-Star break, but I will not play the actual All-Star game. I am going to take the best players based on the replay and make my own All-Star team based on their stats. So you'll see how that plays out. Here's McLemore. 4-5, and that's going to be a fly to left, and that'll do it. George Bell puts it, or actually Leach puts it away, and there's your ball game. So Jimmy Key lowers the ERA once again. It was 1.40 before this at bat by McLemore. I believe it's probably dropped to 1.39 now. We'll verify it in the box score. But Jimmy Key 11-0 on the season. He's got 11 of the 29 Toronto victories. His ERA is now 1.39. He went 9 innings, gave up 5 hits, 2 runs, none of which were earned, walked 4, struck out 5. So 2 runs and 5 hits for California. The losing pitcher, Jack Lazorko, drops to 0-2. His ERA skyrockets to 8.31. So obviously, you could give player again Rick Leach for the 3-run homer, but I would think Jimmy Key getting his 11th win, going to 11-0, and a 1.39 ERA, that's, to me, is the no-brainer there. Your player of the game, Jimmy Key, was 17-8 real world, but he's 11-0 right now, and he has taken care of business. Looking ahead to our next game tomorrow, and I'm thinking about doing a doubleheader tomorrow, actually. If I can pull it off and start a little bit earlier, I might do it. First game is going to be from Chicago. It'll be the Boston Red Sox taking on the Chicago White Sox, Bruce Hurst against Jose De Leon. And the second game, if I can have time to do it, will be Texas and Kansas City, Jose Guzman against Brett Saberhagen. So we go from Chicago to Kansas City, stay in the Midwest for a doubleheader tomorrow. It'll be games 323 and 324. And then on Saturday, we would be playing the National League outing from May 30th, which would be the Montreal Expos and the San Francisco Giants. All right, so that will do it. Jimmy Key is your man. Player of the game, no question about it. As the Blue Jays pound out also 3 home runs, one by Leach, one by Witt, and one by McGriff. 3 solo home runs, and the run for the Angels came on the 2-run homer from Downing, which followed the E5 on Kelly Gruber, which made these runs unearned to begin with. So with the victory, Toronto, look at the standings. Toronto pulls to within 2 games of the Yankees. The Yankees are 32-16. Toronto's 29-17. Milwaukee's right in between them at 28-15. California drops to 23-25, and they drop to 3.5 games behind the Oakland A's, only a half game in front of Minnesota. So Chicago taking on Boston. Chicago is 2 games back in the West. And Kansas City taking on Texas. Kansas City's only a game and a half back in the West. So, yep, it's Hum Baby. That'll be on Saturday. Hum Baby, it is. The Giants, Mike Krukow against Floyd Yeomans. I believe that's the matchup. It's the May 30th game from 1987 at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. That'll be the National League offering. So that's going to do it from here. Hope you all have a wonderful Thursday wherever you are. And weekend is almost here for those of you who enjoy the weekend. If you're into football, that's always, coming up. If you're just into baseball, then you got to wait again till March for spring training. Actually, I think the World Baseball Classic or something is going on, but I don't follow that either, so I don't know anything about that. But just heard it was happening, that's all. So tomorrow morning we will have the game between the doubleheader, hopefully. Chicago-Boston the first game and Kansas City-Texas second game. In the meantime, tonight, back with the Demolition League, we will be in Pittsburgh. It'll be the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Walker Buehler against Mitch Keller. And that'll be from Pittsburgh, game number 49 out of 270 in the Demolition League. That will be tonight. But I've already got the score sheet ready for Saturday. Montreal and San Francisco. Floyd Yeomans against Mike Krukow. And that'll be on Saturday around noon. Roughly. Could go either way as far as time goes, but try to get it somewhere around noon, possibly. All right, so thank you all for spending part of your Thursday morning with me. It's always a pleasure. Kathy, thank you for the wonderful trivia questions. And thanks to everybody else for their company and their contributions. And look forward to doing this all again tomorrow morning, possibly with a doubleheader. So we'll see how if I have time to do it. If I do that, I'm going to probably start it earlier. So we're probably looking at about an 8:30 time slot instead of 9. If I decide to do that, I'm not sure if I'm up to doing that or not, but we'll find out. So until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.